I know AFOA is successful, and it's just, I get so involved emotionally sometimes when I think about it, because it's been good for me, and it's good for our community. It's been good for the province, our First Nations within the province, and it's been great for Canada.
More than 20 years ago, AFOA BC knew that sharing our knowledge with other First Nations would help transform our communities to again be leaders in our own economy. Tsawwassen First Nation is one of those leading the way. The 1990s began with the launch of a new era for BC First Nations. The modern treaty-making process, the Canadian Aboriginal Economic Development Strategy, on-reserve housing funds, we were regaining control of our future and governance.
There's a big gap in communities. There's communities that need a lot of help, and there's communities that are just wildly successful right now.
I think in the case of my First Nation, which is the Squamish Nation, geographically located in the Vancouver area, it is a great example of those two extreme situations, if you like, being First Nations, custom, culture, and also the economy. So we happen to live in an area geographically that is rich, but rich for not everybody. And so our ultimate goal has to be able to get into the mainstream of business and society, and at the same time preserve our culture.
All around us, economies and people were thriving, while our communities suffered housing, water crisis, high unemployment, and social injustices.
I encountered one situation in one community where they had a business that was losing money. And I asked, why is it losing money? Well, because it always has. And that's not the right answer. We made some not major changes and turned that into a profitable company. So, just the way it is isn't necessarily the right way.
We had to find a way to participate in this new economy.
Be open to change, not necessarily to the change, not necessarily compromising, the cultural values that are already there, but maybe change in the way that business is being done.
In 1996, a group of Aboriginal community leaders met to discuss how to support First Nations with realizing their vision. The Aboriginal Financial Officers Association of BC was created to strengthen First Nation communities by building leadership and management capacity through professional development and education.
Being an accountant and not having the ability to talk to other First Nation Aboriginal accountants seemed like there was nobody out there. So with the formation of AFOA BC, it actually eliminated a lot of that. It actually brought a lot of First Nation finance people together and to talk about some of the things that were issues for them, some of the best practices that they shared amongst each other was another great thing, and just to really have somebody there to bounce ideas off of. And if you have a problem, somebody there probably went through the same thing, and they probably had a very simple approach to doing it.
Our vision, that all Aboriginal people and communities realize social, economic, and cultural prosperity.
I received an invitation from a group to attend a workshop, and they call it the Aboriginal Financial Officers of BC. To me, I was really quite excited about it because I had previously been a municipal administrator, and there was a similar organization called the Municipal Officers, and I thought, hey, this is what I need. I was very new to First Nations. I had only worked with them for maybe 5 years, and everything was still very new to me.
Our workshops are a starting point. Our sessions are a starting point, okay, of gathering information. But the biggest thing is meeting other people and meeting people with similar issues and trying to deal with the issues.
AFOA BC members work for First Nations and Aboriginal organizations province-wide. Working with their leadership and community members, they have realized amazing success. Calla First Nation is one realizing its dream.
How it helped me is by making me, I believe, a stronger and a better person. I present that to my council, which hopefully leads down into the management team.
Calla operates businesses in tourism, forestry, fisheries, and has several partnerships and agreements.
As a matter of fact, we used their finance policy as a template for our finance policy for Calla. And from that finance policy, we developed the FAL, which is recognized by the Financial Management Board. And we're near certification with the Financial Management Board at this time.
Over these 2 decades, First Nations have overcome numerous challenges: recognition of Aboriginal rights, returning to governance. We've transformed to become leaders in our own homelands.
At the time, Penticton Indian Band was under a remedial management plan in trouble. And I'm not giving away any secrets. We've told this story publicly before. Today calls on Penticton Indian Band to serve as mentors for other communities. So that community has transformed from one that was under extreme stress and duress to one that is today a model of how a community should be run and how people should be doing it right.
The BC Aboriginal Investment Council reported there are 86 projects, over 1,200 companies, and First Nations in 500 agreements. Yet, there remains untapped opportunities.
There are literally hundreds of millions of dollars in different communities around this province right now. And for young people to consider a career in accounting and finance so that they can better manage those resources, they can have that impact on the quality of life.
AFOA BC will continue to support First Nations with capitalizing on these opportunities and transforming to be ready to live their vision.
In 50 years, we will see prosperous, educated, beautiful communities where people speak their language, know their history.
I think First Nations are going to be the example of governance. I've always seen that First Nations governments have the most complicated government job there is there. They have to provide all the services, so where everybody else splits it up, so the municipality does some, and the province does some, and the federal government does some, First Nations have to do it all.
First Nations are going to be in a position of power. You never know. At this time, we may, by then, I'm hoping we're going to have a First Nation Prime Minister, and probably a majority of cabinet in Canada will be First Nations.
In one word, what is your vision for the future of First Nations?
Harmony, which means basically all parts working together. I'd like to see people working in the band office, people that are working in economic development, working in the daycare, working in finance, all of these parts coming together to make a great song.
Unified, okay? Unification in all their policies and unification where their goals are.
I actually have 2 words: active participant.
Self-sufficiency.
Progressive.
Empowerment.